We say it clearly, and there has been a need to say it far too often. Peacekeepers must never be a target. All acts that endanger the peacekeepers must immediately stop. All actors must adhere to their obligations to ensure the safety and security of the peacekeepers at all times. The inviolability of the United Nations installations must be respected. I wish to acknowledge and applaud the extraordinary commitment and courage of the women and men of UNIFIL implementing Security Council mandate tasks in these extremely dangerous conditions as far as the security circumstances allow. And I express my deepest gratitude to them. Mr. President, since Hezbollah on the 2nd of March claimed an attack on Israel, the group has conducted daily strikes, including with rockets, missiles, and drones at targets in Israel and the occupied Syrian Golan. UNIFIL continues to report hundreds of launches from the mission's area of operations, which demonstrates the presence of unauthorized armed personnel, assets, and weapons south of the Litani River, in clear violation of Resolution 1701. As reported earlier, the Israel Defense Forces have issued displacement orders for the entire UNIFIL area of operations and can continue to conduct intensified daily strikes, also in violation of Resolution 1701.
Des incidents graves ont également été commis par Israël à l'encontre du contingent français à Nakoura, en particulier à l'encontre du chef d'état-major de la force. Des soldats israéliens ont fait preuve d'une attitude agressive, d'intimidation et d'atteinte à la sécurité des personnels du contingent français, alors même que les procédures de déconfliction avaient été dûment respectées. La France condamne avec fermeté ces menaces directes à l'encontre de ses personnels engagés au sein de la FINUL. Elle l'a fait savoir aux autorités israéliennes. Toute la lumière devra être faite sans délai sur ces actes. Monsieur le Président, ce Conseil ne peut se contenter de condamner, il doit agir pour que ces actes ne se reproduisent plus. La protection des casques bleus est une obligation du droit international qui s'impose à tous. Cela nous a été rappelé par nos briefeurs. Nous attendons d'Israël des garanties concrètes et immédiates. Les procédures de déconfliction existent et doivent être respectées par toutes les parties sans exception. Chaque jour, les casques bleus de la FINUL doivent faire face aux risques de tirs, des mines et des engins explosifs improvisés alors qu'ils mettent en œuvre le mandat qui leur a été confié. De tels actes sont inacceptables et injustifiables. La France appelle à nouveau Israël et le Hezbollah à respecter la sécurité des casques bleus. Quiconque met en danger les personnels onusiens porte une responsabilité devant ce Conseil et devant la communauté internationale tout entière. Pour sortir de la guerre, la voie est connue. C'est la pleine mise en œuvre de la résolution 1701 et le recours à l'accord de cessez-le-feu de novembre 24 avec l'appui du mécanisme de surveillance américano-français qui en procède. Cela exige d'une part qu'Israël renonce à toute intervention terrestre d'envergure et à toute occupation du territoire libanais qui ne ferait qu'éloigner la perspective d'une paix durable. Cela exige d'autre part que le Hezbollah mette un terme à ses attaques et qu'il remette ses armes à l'État libanais, conformément à la décision prise courageusement par le gouvernement libanais le 2 mars. Le Hezbollah doit cesser de prendre en otage le peuple libanais au service d'une guerre menée par l'Iran contre Israël, guerre que nous condamnons absolument. L'Iran doit également se conformer aux décisions prises souverainement par les autorités libanaises, dont celle d'exiger le départ de l'ambassadeur d'Iran au Liban à compter du 29 mars.
This council owes them condolences, but we also owe them a wise approach to peacekeeping that recognizes that terrorists have no respect for this council. Terrorists have no respect for the norms of international law. Colleagues, we all recognize that the suffering in this region is immense and has gone on for far too long. Parents, children, and grandparents, whether Israeli or Lebanese, whether civilians or UN peacekeepers, they should not face the daily dangers caused by Iranian-backed terrorists who have long afflicted both Israel and Lebanon. The people in this region deserve a different future, one defined by security and economic opportunity and normal life, not by rockets, tunnels, and the constant threat of escalation and retaliation. We must support the government of Lebanon and the Lebanese armed forces as they exercise sovereignty And we've heard a lot of talk about sovereignty today, but as they exercise sovereignty, the duly elected government of Lebanon, over all of Lebanon's territory and beat back Hezbollah, a group that hides behind civilians while threatening their neighbors, a terrorist group that has a long history of hiding weapons, fighters, and caches of rockets in schools and hospitals and civilian homes. Hezbollah also has a long history of attacking peacekeepers and of firing on Israeli civilians from proximity of UNIFIL and peacekeeping positions, inviting retaliation for their own propaganda aims.
There have been statements, even today, important ones, but it's not enough. Action. Lebanon committed to disarm Hezbollah south of the Litani River. It committed to deploy its own forces in that area. It has done neither. And I listened carefully also to my colleague from France. You mentioned Iran. But, you know, when it comes to Israel, you condemn, you demand action. But when Iran openly defies Lebanon's sovereign decision to expel the Iranian ambassador, all the responses are very measured, very diplomatic, very polite. When it comes to Israel, you don't, think about the diplomacy. So I ask, how come you took a decision to expel the ambassador last week? To expel the Iranian ambassador. The deadline has passed. As we speak, he is still in Beirut. The guest is no longer acting like a guest. He's acting like he owns the house. Can you imagine that you will get a request from a hosting country? You were all serving in many countries. You will be asked to move out. And you will tell the host country, no, I'm not leaving. I have different orders from my capital, from Tehran, and I'm staying now. How can it happen? At the same time, Hezbollah ministers remain part of the government, and attacks continue to be launched from areas the Lebanese army says it controls, including south of the Litani River. The gap between words and reality is a problem. Lebanon has not taken sufficient action to address Hezbollah's military presence. Lebanon needs to take real action. Until that happens, no one is safe. No one. Not in northern Israel, not in Lebanon, not in UNIFIL bases. We are paying a heavy price. Last night, 4 Israeli soldiers fell in southern Lebanon. We remember them, we honor them. Israel will not accept attacks against its citizens, and we will take the necessary measures to defend them in accordance with the international law. Let me be clear. We have no desire, and I'm telling to my colleague from Lebanon, we have no desire to remain or operate in Lebanon. Our goal is to protect our communities and to push the threat away from our border.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Je serai extrêmement rapide à la suite des propos de notre collègue israélien. Je ne me livrerai pas à une comparaison des déclarations de la France concernant Israël et l'Iran, tout simplement parce qu'il ne me viendrait pas à l'esprit de comparer la nature des relations entre la France et Israël d'une part, la France et l'Iran d'autre part. Notre seul propos, c'est la volonté de désescalade, la volonté que soit respectée l'intégrité territoriale et la souveraineté du Liban par tous, et nous rappelons toujours la responsabilité écrasante de l'Iran et du Hezbollah dans le déclenchement de toutes ces opérations.
Jelajahi cara baru mendapatkan informasi. Download MetroTV Extend sekarang.